This is a 2002 Fairline Phantom 38, and I like these a lot. I'm going to take you on board and give you the full tour. The best way I can describe this is it may not be all the boat you could ever want, but it is probably, for most people, all the boat you could ever need. And I have to say as well, it is for me probably all the boat I could want, because it does fit a lot of boxes, or tick a lot of boxes even, if I'm going to use the analogy correctly. Anyway, there she is. She's a Flybridge boat, this one. And I mentioned she's 2002, so she's about 20 years old. So she's very impressive in terms of how tidy she is. We've got the extended bathing platform. This one's got the passerelle on the back. So that is for stern-to boarding, but also it allows you to lift a tender on and off. And so that sits, as you can see, just down on the bathing platform like so. We'll head on and do the full tour. The first thing we've got is the cockpit area just here. Now I often mention the canopy that goes on these, and you can see it's in place on this one because it's the winter and the boat's not currently in use. So that's how that works. It slides into a track. You can see it up here. You've got a roll-up section, which is where we came in. In fact, you can roll different sections up. If I come over to here, you might be able to see, yeah, there we go. You can see all the straps for the rolling up of. And then you've also got steps up here, up onto the Flybridge. So a nice cockpit area. It's a very high spec, this one, actually. You'll see as we go through just how much stuff it's got on it. This then is the saloon. So I mentioned it's a Flybridge boat. You come straight from the cockpit, straight in. You don't have to go down steps or anything like that. And this is how she looks inside. Now this is very much classic Fairline of the era. They all had this high gloss cherry woodwork. Most had the cream leather. And so this is very much the sort of thing that you'd expect at this sort of age. And it still, I think, looks great. Seating over on this side, pretty sure you can convert that to a double bed. This table will expand. You can see it's got a split in it there. That's so that it can slide open, slide that way, and there's an infill piece that goes in. So if you want more space for that, you can have it. It's also on a high-low leg, so it's telescopic. You can drop that down and make it more like a coffee table if you wish. Very nice when you're watching TV, which this owner's got one just sat up on there, which works very well. In fact, when they supplied these, they had a TV in here. It looks like this one's still got it. Yeah, there we go. But of course, if you want a bigger TV, that's a good place to put it. Also in here is the bar area. So you've got glasses up here, and then bottles down underneath there in this one. Like so. Now I mentioned this is a high spec boat. A couple of things that I don't think were standard when the boat was new, but were obviously able to be specified, are a fridge, but also on this one, an ice maker. So that's quite unusual on this sort of boat. Nice thing to have. I suspect this boat's been in the Mediterranean because it's got the ice maker. It's also got air conditioning, unusual on a boat of this age and size. You can see the outlet for that there. And of course, as we mentioned, it has the passerelle on the back, which tends to be mostly used for stern-to boarding in the Med. So quite possibly that's where this boat started its life, and it's now in the UK. That's pretty common for these sorts of boats, of course, to travel up and down. If we go up here now, the big advantage with a Flybridge boat, and you can really feel it on a day like today, which is December, is the fact you've got this internal helm position. So this is really nice. You can drive the boat from here. There is an outside helm as well, and I will show you that. Now this is all very much of the era 2002. So you've got things like the Raymarine RL80 there. This was one of the first colour displays, actually. We all got very excited when these came out and gave us a colour display, but things have moved on a bit, but that still works absolutely fine and does the job that you need it to do. Other things along here, side power thruster, so that's your bow thruster. There's an autopilot on here as well. This one's interesting. This is a Navtex. Now, these are completely out of date now, but what these had inside was a little roll, almost like a sort of toilet roll thing here. And they printed out. And the reason for that was because back in 2002, the internet wasn't really the thing that it is now. And so what you'd have is that when the weather forecast was produced at sort of midnight or 2 in the morning, whatever, that would print out so that in the morning you could just retrieve it off of the print off. It's got a VHF radio over here. In fact, that looks like it's been replaced. I don't think that's an original one. What else have we got down here? The engine controls are down here. This is the automatic fire extinguishing system for the engine room. And another option on this one, own generator. So the controls for that are just there. So it has its own power source for 240 volt power. And I love the way they've done this with this curve. And again, very much of the era, this sort of walnut dashboard, all very Jaguar, isn't it? And the Phantom 38 logo over there. Now, if we head on down, so this is the main deck, we drop down then to a lower deck. What's quite nice is that they've put 2 steps in here and then a further step down there. On earlier boats, you tend to go down 3 steps and have everything on one level, but this brings this up a little bit. And the advantage of that is that when you're here, you can chat to people here. So you're not buried down on the lower deck. It's almost like a sort of a half deck, really. Here we've got the microwave. That, again, that wasn't original. It looks like it's been replaced. And we've got the electric hob as well. So there's no gas on this one, which is not a bad thing. And then this is all little storage areas all the way along here. I won't open them all, obviously, but you get the idea. And then drawers down here. You can see this has got these, so you can put plates in there if you want to, and it holds them safe. And then you've also got your galley fridge. So you've got 2 fridges. You've got this one for your food and the one up in the saloon for your drinks. There's also a load of storage on these boats. So if you look underneath here, for example, that one's got the hoover in. And then if we come back a bit, you'll see that we've got a bin tucked away underneath here, and then down here a bit more storage again. In fact, that little fella there is the infill for the table to make that larger if you want it. So nice finishes on these boats as well. You've got this lovely cream here. It's like a vinyl. It feels like leather, but it's actually a vinyl. And then you've got these wooden fillets. You can see them all the way around. They match the doors. You can see them over here as well. It's really nicely done. Look at the way that this is done here too. It's all very nice. Now, I mentioned about this being all the boat that you could need, and down here on the lower deck, I think, is where this is most prevalent, because what you've got is 2 cabins and 2 toilets. So, owner cabin up here, right in the bow. Nice size. Again, it's all you could need, isn't it, really? You might notice there's radiators about the place. These are just for the winter because the boat's not currently in use. It just keeps a little bit of heat in here, which is not a bad idea at all. I have one on my boat while it's out the water for the winter. Now down here we've got hanging locker. You've got storage shelves around here. There's a hatch up overhead. There is a blind that slides across there, so you can close that off at night. And then over on this side then, another hanging locker. So again, plenty of storage and little areas tucked away like this down by the side of the bed. You can drop your phone in there at night if you want to, or whatever else. But what's great is that this has an ensuite. In fact, this is the day head, so you can see there's access here as well. So during the day, people can come down and straight into it. But at night, this is for this cabin. And that's pretty decent. You've got a nice shower there, and it's got a screen that comes around. That's why it's circular. So that screen tracks around, gives you a separate shower area, keeps everything else dry, and then your loo is down underneath here. And then your sink, of course, and more storage across the back. So that is that. But then if we come back here, we find a guest cabin. This is quite clever because you'll see that the helm is raised up, and that of course gives you great visibility, but it also gives you a bit more headroom so that this cabin can disappear back underneath it. So you come into here, you've got full standing headroom, somewhere to get changed, and then the beds drop back underneath, and that means that that area gets used twice. That's really good. You've got windows in here as well, they open, so you've got a bit of ventilation if you want it. You've also got another big hanging locker and a shelf above it, so you've got plenty of places to tuck things away. But the other thing you have in here, and this is unusual for a sub 40-foot boat, is another heads. So at night, this cabin has got its own toilet in here. And again, none of these radiators. This radiator is normally up in the saloon. We just moved it in here just while we're doing the video. So toilet here, and you've got a sink over here. What you don't get in this one, I don't think, I can't see it, is a shower. So this is brilliant just at night. People can go in and use the loo and clean their teeth and that sort of thing without having to share a toilet. But then, of course, if you want a shower, you can always pop across the corridor and use the one in there. I think that's a very intelligent and well configured layout. And it's back to what I said right at the beginning. You know, for 4 people, if you're an adult with a couple of kids, really, what else could you possibly need? You've got separate cabins, you've got separate toilets, you've got a separate nice galley area, you've got a nice saloon area, you've got the lower helm, you've got the aft deck, and there's a flybridge on top. We'll go and take a look at that next. So if we head out here, pop the old shoes back on. These shoes are brand new, fresh out of the box this morning. Look at that. Lovely. You can't beat a pair of new shoes, can you? I'll just show you a couple of things out here, actually. This one here is backup bilge pumping. So it has electric bilge pumps with float switches, so that if any water gets in the bilge, it pumps them out. But that one there, if I open that, you can see how that's a little slot for that handle to go in. Oops, he says. Let's put that back. There we go. And then you can choose with these diverter valves whether you're pumping out the forward area of the boat or the back area of the boat. So it's just a backup system, basically. These steps then take us up to the Flybridge. Now I've opened the hatch, but you can see it just there, how that will drop down over here. So you can have this whole area enclosed if you wish. And if we go on up, as I mentioned, this is very much in sort of winter mode at the minute, so everything's covered up. But what you have here are 3 seats across, really nice when you're underway. Everyone can see what's going on. You've got a tremendous view from up here as well. You can see, actually, if we lift the camera up, you can see Torquay Marina, you can see Tom the yacht broker stood there. Give us a wave, Tom. There we go. And then you've got on the helm position here. So this, of course, is where you can drive the boat from. And then there's a load of seating all the way around the back. You've got a table in the centre there as well, so great place to dine. Also, you can see this one's got the framework here for a bimini top, so you can put a sun top over this if you want to, which again I suspect if it's been in the med that'd be a useful thing to have. So it is a very high spec boat. We'll come back down here, we'll take a walk around the outside, and then I'll show you the engines. I'll close that one back down, in fact, behind me, and then you can see how that looks. So that basically just comes down like that. And of course it's also useful if you're up on the top and people are wandering around, you can close it down so nobody stumbles down the steps. So that's not a bad idea. This is access onto the side deck, so I'll zip that one up like so. I've unpoppered this already. And this then takes us up to the bow. So you've got nice rails all the way around. You've also got a rail up here as well, which is nice. So you can hang onto that as you move forward. And then up here, that of course is the lower helm. Down there, you've got the foredeck here. I believe, well in fact I know you can have sunbathing cushions here. I don't know if this boat's got them, but that's what these little hooks are for, so that you can secure those in place. And then there's a track there that they slot into so they don't fly off when you're at speed. That's the hatch over that forward cabin. And then if we come right up to the front, these are the buttons for the electric anchor winch. They live underneath there, they're foot switches. And if we lift that one up, you can see the winch there and the anchor chain and the anchor on the front, and that is all of the chain down in the locker. So that is that. Let's take a wander back. I'll show you those engines. And that then I think will be a pretty conclusive tour. It's a nice boat though, isn't it? Okay, so we're back down here. Let's move that out of the way. Drop back in. There we go, I'll zip that one back down. These are poppers, they just literally pop onto little clips on the outside, so they're very easy just to pop back into place. I'll do that when I get off. Now, what can I show you here? So there's a couple of things to show you here actually. First of all, this is the lazarette. And lazarette is basically a big underdeck storage area. So that opens like that. This is a shaft drive boat, I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. But the idea of this is it gives you storage right at the back. You can see there's a couple of director chairs in here, for example. The generator lives down here as well. You can see that right at the back, just there. That fella. And then these big chaps here are the exhausts. So you can see the exhaust pipe actually going back out through there. So those are just silencers basically, make it a little bit quieter. And it looks like another vacuum cleaner. That's a lot of cleaning goes on with this boat, clearly. Not a bad thing. Okay, let's drop that one back down. Now there are a couple of ways into the engine room. You can get in from here, just for a quick check. So that lifts like that. Now I mentioned this is a shaft drive boat, so the engines are forward. I'm going to show you those a bit better in a moment, but I'll show you this right now. If we look down, you can see the engines and then the gearboxes, and it's a straight shaft that goes out through the hull, propeller on the end. The nice thing about that is they're a nice simple system. There's not too much to go wrong with those at all. And that's a little step down. So you can just drop yourself down there and do a quick check if you want to. Just want to have a quick look in the morning before you head out. However, there is a more comprehensive access. And to get to that, what we do is we go onto the floor here. So this table that I mentioned, this slides out of the way. What's quite nice, it's on a heavy base, so it doesn't fly around when you're at sea. But you can also lift that out and put that in the cockpit if you want to. Let's slide that one over there, and then if we come around here, that's probably the best place to do it. This whole floor lifts, and you can see there's a catch, or a prop I should say, at the back. That's that stainless steel bar, so that you can hold that up. And I've opened it from the wrong end, so I can't reach it. Let's go around and see if we can do that. And I can get down in there. Oh, there we go. Try and do it without falling in. There we go. That now holds that up, and in fact there's another smaller hatch there. But now, I'll put my new shoes back on, you can actually get right down in between the engines. It's really useful for doing engine checks and that kind of stuff. Let's drop into there. There we go. Now these are a pair of Volvo Penta TAMD 63s. Now there are two versions of these 63s. There's a 63L, which is 318 horsepower, if I remember rightly, and a 63P, which is 370 horsepower. And I'm pretty sure these are a 63P. I'm not absolutely certain, but I'm 99% certain. But check with the broker if you're planning to buy the boat. Now this, of course, gives you pretty good access because you can get right on top of these. You can get to things like the oil fillers and that kind of stuff. These are the turbos on the back, and then if you go down here, that's where that other hatch was that we looked at. And again, you can see the shafts running out down the back, so it's all pretty get-at-able. There's a word we've not used for a while, isn't there? People new to the channel thinking, what the hell's you on about? That is the fire extinguishing system, so that's what we saw at the helm. So that's protecting this area if ever there was a problem. And then these are the water intakes here for the cooling. All very good. Let's hook myself back out of there. Oh, yeah. There we go. It's easier if you're not holding a GoPro. That's it. And I'll close that back down. There we are. My hand back in there. Drop that down like that. And there we go. Fairline Phantom 38. I think that's a pretty comprehensive tour. So I will have a seat back here, and I'll say thank you to One Marine. They've organised this tour. I will put a link to those guys in the description as ever. And huge thanks to you guys for watching. We'll catch you on another one of these very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.